So, welcome to the Temple Rose, the holistic path of bliss. I am MoonRose Magick, and I am the head facilitator of the Temple Rose. I am here because I'm so excited to share with you guys the magic of this pathway that I think we are so ready for. Now is the time more than ever, I personally believe, we should be learning about these parts of ourselves and be reclaiming our right to deeper pleasure, deeper health, deeper intimacy, connection, and a life of full body bliss. So if you are here, I am going to assume that you are ready for a life of full body bliss activated in every cell of your body. And I want to take you there. I want to show you how you can achieve that, both in the bedroom, but also in your relationship with life, your quality of life. And your eros is a big key to that relationship that I want you to reclaim. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of myth busting today. I'm probably going to invite some new ways of thinking about things, and I'm going to give you the roadmap for something that I know was so important for me when I began my journey with understanding this part of me, my erotic self, and also a deeper meaning of what that is. What all this tantra and embodiment and sacred sexuality stuff is. I want to give you the roadmap so that it can be a little bit easier for you, and also to give you radical permission to play at your pace, for you to take what you need and leave the rest, which leads me into just some little agreements I'm going to make during this masterclass with you so that you can fully enjoy it, experience it, and know that this gets to be whatever you want it to be. So just some beautiful little agreements if you're watching this, whenever you're watching this, is first and foremost to always be in your sovereignty, which means take care of yourself. I may say things that you really like and make sense, and I may say some things that you don't like and you don't agree with. Both are subjective, and this is a real take what you need and leave the rest. You do not have to agree with everything I say, right? There may be some really key points I make that you're like, fuck yeah, I'm really digging what she's saying, and I really vibe that, and I'm gonna take that in and sit with that and take that information on. And there may be a way that I say something else or an opinion that I have, right, that you may actually go, oh, I don't vibe with that. The gift of discernment is from anyone who's teaching you anything is to take what you need and leave the rest. By all means, you do not have to like everything I say, but keep the gold and, allow the rest to be what it is. That is my the gift I give you in your radical authority of what is your truth and what may just simply not be something you want to listen to, or even a way I say something. Which brings me to the next piece of coming with a beginner's mind. I know there's a few of you who may be in here, or if you're watching this, who may be on a journey with this stuff and have been for a long time. You may hear me use language or explain things that you're like, I already know that, right? And that is beautiful, right? Because I'm not claiming to be the owner of all the mysteries, right? I'm just sharing this beautiful perspective of this pathway in the way that has served me and the people around me, and how I've pieced it together, that can really be something that if you hear language or hear information that you're like, yeah, I already know that. The invitation is to come with a beginner's mind. A beginner's mind is a beautiful thing because we get to empty, because maybe there's something you already know, but there's a way I say it that makes you understand it in a new perspective. So when we come with a beginner's mind, we're just simply being empty. We're coming as the student again, right? And it allows us to maybe hear things in a way we haven't heard it before, or see a perspective we haven't seen before. So these are my biggest disclaimers for you, is please take what you need and leave the rest, and to view this information as a beginner, meaning empty the mind, even if you know a lot of what I'm speaking to already, just maybe there's a way I say it that you haven't heard before. So just allow yourself to be present with what's being presented. So I want to begin this journey by sharing a little bit about who I am. So if you don't know me, hello, my name is MoonRose Magick, and I am the temple mistress of the Bliss Boudoir, a beautiful erotic wellness and creative adult space that is located here in Tweed on the Gold Coast in Australia. It is a delicious playground for all of these permissions and things where adults come and play. We have everything from tantra experiences to conscious kink stuff to the more holistic stuff as well. We are a plethora of a space that we wish to see in the world. And we are also radical permission to play, right? We have lots of parties here. We have education. We're here for the consent, everything from consent and boundaries on all the way to, how to spank someone. We really are here for adult education and giving you permission to know that this part of you is not shameful, dirty, bad, or wrong. It's actually your right as an adult to integrate and mature your sexuality so you can reclaim its innocence and its power in a way that's going to serve you in your life. So I am so here for this, and I am also the creatrix of the Temple Rose, the holistic Path of Bliss, which is the more holistic side of what goes on at this venue, and also what we're going to be bringing to you more online. And it has been my absolute pleasure, definitely my pleasure, but also it's been my bliss and my devotion to share this wisdom, this message, and to debunk and deconfuse things for people around what I believe is one of the trickiest topics we have as humans, and one of the things that in the world I believe is one of the most areas that we need to awaken and understand as humans, to come into, raising our consciousness, to integrate as a species together. And what a different world it would be if we actually reclaimed and understood our sexual potential and our sexual energy. It's a very powerful energy, and this is what the holistic path of bliss is about. So once upon a time, though, I wasn't so, I want to say, blissful. I grew up in, I was born in the UK. I lived in South Africa as a little girl. Lots of trauma, thank you. Johannesburg in the 90s, it's going to come with it. And then I grew up in the Middle East. I actually lived in the UAE for many years of my teenage years until I came to Australia and just didn't leave because I love this place. And so I grew up with a very unique Irish Catholic household in a Muslim country vibe. And you can only imagine that sexuality was not something that was spoken about, let alone allowed. I mean, literally in a country where it's like illegal. Kiss your boyfriend, go to jail, that kind of stuff. So my relationship with sexuality was very disconnected and distorted. And this was very confusing, obviously, growing up, because I have a very big sexual energy, right? I got big old womb energy and lots of eros that runs through my body. But this showed up in ways for me growing up that I was afraid. I was afraid of my own sexuality and knew that it wasn't allowed and it wasn't lovable and it wasn't a safe place to be. So that created a lot of pain and trauma and sexual distortion for me, which is, I know, what a lot of people go through in our different stories of life, and a disconnection to my body and the fear of my erotic self. which led to many years, like I said, of disconnection, distortion in my sexual energy. And I went down the healing paths because I was really disconnected to myself. I ended up down, learning about yoga and nervous system regulation, and I was into more of the shamanic side of stuff. I ended up doing a lot of healing, getting myself off antidepressants and my mental health stuff, being diagnosed with CPTSD, all of these delightful things, yay, meaning I haven't always been every cell ecstatic being person, right? But I was a very erotic being, and because there was shame in my body about it, it meant that it came out sideways. So I used to drink a lot and do a lot of drugs, and that's when my sexual energy would come out in very rampant ways, because I couldn't accept this part of myself, and it wasn't acceptable in the world that I was living in. And inevitably, the breakthrough actually started to come for me when I was a uni student. I was in my years at uni, and I had to get a little side job. And in this little side job, I ended up in an adult shop. And I remember the first day, I like to say this is my I found God in a sex shop phase, where I ended up working in this adult shop, and I absolutely fell in love with the topic. It was like a whole new world to me, because I didn't grow up with this stuff around me. And then I was like, oh my God, there's a whole realm, a whole new world of like things that this topic is okay, and we can be in this, and we can not only be in this, but I can actually, enjoy my pleasure. Like, there's different types of orgasms, and I can actually take an interest in my pleasure. And that was very exciting for me. And so that was actually where I found my first tantra book. And in that little adult shop, I found a flavor for life. I found passion. I'd never been passionate about something. And I felt this energy about this topic that I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm following it. And lo and behold, it led me to de-armoring my body through pleasure in so many ways that was both a spiritual experience for me, but a healing that no other modality had unlocked in me yet, that I was like, there is something here. And in that healing, and when I found that tantra book, all of a sudden I was opened to the world of tantra, and tantric people just started showing up around me, and I ended up going into many different tantric spaces, trainings, courses. I just dove right in. Sacred sexuality, tantric shamanism, both white tantra, red tantra, neo-tantra, conscious kink. I just couldn't get enough of it, and it woke up this devotion, because I felt the thread to go deeper. I felt my soul in this realm for the first time. And it was also one of the most confusing journeys for me, because no one could really give me guidance. No one could truly give me a guidance on what the fuck this tantra thing was, what this whole thing was about. And I would hear so many different lenses and opinions, and this is the right path of tantra, and this is not tantra, and this is spiritual, and this is too spiritual, this is not spiritual enough, sexual energy this, not demons this. And I was like, whoa, this is a lot of information, okay? And this could be quite confusing if you don't know how to navigate this stuff. But I felt the thread, and I started to see how things clicked together. And this is what led essentially to the Temple Rose, as I started, naturally guiding people and explaining it in a way that was really tangible for them to understand, and also for them to get it, to get how it all clicks. How do you go from, because especially you can go to a tantric event, right? Lots of people go to temple nights, or if you're brand new to spaces, you go to a tantric thing, and one person can be thinking it is a breath work and an eye gazing, really soft. And then they go there and someone's getting flogged in the corner or getting spanked in the corner, and that can be very jarring. And I've seen it happen, and it can be a little like, whoa, what is this thing? So this is one of the big passions on how the Temple Rose was birthed, and I take people on deep dives through the roses. I take people on initiation experiences, and I teach them a go at your pace experience to allow them to connect back to the deeper truth of their bliss and their eros in both awakening its potential, and that is both expanding healing. It's a healing path. It's a powerful, potent reclamation path. But it's also, I believe, one of the most important gates we're going to come to on our journey of evolution and human. Do I want to say humanship? You will see so many people go into self-development to get a better relationship with their health, get a relationship with their mindset and their coaching, and get a relationship with wealth, right? These are all topics of conversation that when we're in the self-development phases, we will happily go to and learn about, and there's industries about. But inevitably, if you are on a path of self-development, sexuality is going to be a gate you come to. Because it's a part of our human experience, and it's a part of our life force. Right? If we don't integrate and understand this part, we are blocking our human potential. I mean, what's the one energy? I always say this, it never loses. What is the one energy we all come from? It's your erotic energy, baby. Someone had to feel this energy for us to be in this body and alive right now. It is the energy on this planet that flows through the rivers, that flows through the trees, that drives the species forward in every species. That is, if there was ever a sense of divinity, it would be found within our base. And I truly have spent my life devoted to this topic and creating safe spaces for people to explore this, both in real-time, tangible ways that are healing, but also the permission to allow it to be about pleasure, because that's half the healing of knowing that this is a safe topic to expand yourself within and fucking reclaim, baby. You know, they say that there's nothing sadder than a adult who didn't have a childhood. It's even sadder when an adult doesn't allow themselves to have an adulthood. And sexual maturity is a part of fully exploring your adult human life and who you are within that. It can affect your confidence. It can affect your ability to claim your desires. It can affect your ability to speak your boundaries and speak your consent. It is so powerful to be connected to this topic and to be connected to this energy within you that serves your life in deeper ways. So that's a little bit about me. I mean, there's a lot more I could say. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows and adult shop. Enlightened moments. There was a lot more to that. But what I will say is it led to this passion to bring this topic in a way that can articulate and be tangible for other people. And my intention for the Temple Rose and even this masterclass is I hope that it gives you a moment of realizing that this is an uncomfortable topic, that this is not something that needs to be shameful, dirty, bad, or wrong, or hidden, that this is healthy for you to explore and understand and reclaim in your life and for yourself, and what I believe, the connection, this life force, this very energy being a gateway, a door to your soul, to your sensual soul. Because when we move from there and we move from this place within us, it naturally is like pleasure is a regulated nervous system. It's a calm nervous system, baby. It is your highest timeline of your highest potential is going to feel turned on. It's a quantum fucking leap into your most turned on life when we realize that this energy is the rocket fuel. And essentially, this is what the temple rose is. It is a alchemy path. It is a path of transformation in reclaiming this energy and learning how you can use it in so many ways that serve your health, your physical health, your actual body, your mental health, your energetic health, and your relationship health, right? There's so many empowering things to this topic. So that brings me to the temple rose. I'm going to walk you through the doors of the temple rose, and I'm going to walk you through the roses. And then I'm going to take you on a little guided journey when we finish this masterclass. And we're going to go meet that part in ourselves, and we're going to get curious with it, right? Because I'm all about sharing information, doing the slideshow thing. But I want by the end of this, if you stick around, I want you to feel this. I want you to feel it in your body. I want you to see that curiosity within you and what it opens, where it takes you. So we're going to begin, as I mentioned, the temple rose. The temple rose is the holistic path of bliss. So this is essentially a framework that is based around things like tantra, embodiment practices, and sacred sexuality. Each of the roses that we go through, you can see them like steps. Steps, I like to visualize it like we're going down some stairs and we're going into some rooms in the temple. And each step or each room has a wisdom. It has an activation for us. It has a cellular awakening that we can explore on our journey. And this wisdom is both ancient, it's way beyond just my little eye. There's ancient wisdom to be shared, there's education, there's tools, there's techniques, and there's practices that actually layer on and serve the next step as we go deeper and deeper into the temple. And this is also to give you a language and a framework that if you end up in these spaces, if you end up going, right, I want to explore this tantra thing, this like sacred sexuality thing, beyond the bliss boudoir and wherever you are, you may go to events and you may, go to different styles of events that are within the frameworks of the roses. And they may not obviously use the language of the roses, but it gives you the framework to understand what you're attending or what you're getting involved with, what you're ready for, and maybe what you're not ready for. Because there are different levels and layers and language to this that we're going to come across on our path. So my intention is to give you as much of the tools and the practices as possible to serve your journey of, yes, I'm ready for this. This is where I'm going to explore. And maybe at another point, this level of the temple is somewhere where I'll go, or fuck yeah, that's the level that I want to live on, right? We're each going to have a different activation. And I really like to see the energy of the roses. They are an activation. They show up in your life when you explore them. They invite you into its wisdom that is here to serve you back to the truth of your full body bliss. Full body orgasms. This is one of my favorite topics. If you know me, you know that in we have a thing called Sexhibition. It used to be called Sexpo. It's a big sexual health and lifestyle exhibition that travels around Australia, and I run the Tantra Temple at this big, beautiful thing with lots of porn stars and stuff. It's quite hilarious. But one of my favorite topics that I talk about at Sexhibition is full body orgasms. And I explain to people that a full body orgasm is merely a side effect, right? It's not the goal. It's the side effect of when we access this within our body and our being. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through these roses and give you a little idea, give you context to maybe feel into when, as I go through the roses, I want you to feel into what happens in your body. I want you to feel if something excites you, or if you're like, oh, that makes sense, or, oh, that's where I'm at. I also want you to feel if it scares you. If you're like, ooh, that sounds intense, or that sounds like an area that I'm not ready for, or maybe I'm excited about, but I don't know if I can go in that door or room yet, right? I want you to feel that as we're going to be exploring 5 roses. And I'm only doing a brief overview of these. There will be something deeper that I'll share with you at the end, but just to give you guys a framework. So the first rose in the temple rose is known as the white rose. And the white rose is known as tantric alchemy. This rose is the first step we go to if we want to be exploring full body bliss and opening full body orgasms and having these intense experiences and tantric sex, but we don't know how to breathe properly, or we don't know how to control our mind, or our nervous system's all over the place, or we don't feel safe to just be in our body, let alone near our sexual energy, then we need to reel it back. We need to come back to the basics. And you'll start to notice when I mention things, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can see that out in the world. So the white rose is more of a purification rose. This is alchemy, meaning transformation. We are turning lead into gold. We are turning the stuff that is stuck in your channel, in your body, and we are alchemizing it into higher vibrations, into higher emotions, into releasing to create a clear body, a clear channel. You got to think about this. Eros is a very powerful energy. It's like liquid sun when it's fully switched on, right? And we want to hold that in every cell of our body, right? It requires our body to actually have the capability to do that, which means that we may need to purify a little. The wisdom connected to this is usually in tantric terms, known as white tantra. And white tantra is a non-sexual path of tantra. And it is a path that really is about purification. So practices like breath work, tantric sublimation breath work, even movement practices. We have a thing called tantric alchemy dance, which is kind of a mix of movement with yoga and ecstatic dance to get you out of your head and moving energy in your body, recalibrating your nervous system so that you can actually get all of those beautiful things. In yoga they call them the chittas, the things in the subconscious and the unconscious that may be stuck or in the way. If our heart is closed, if our body's contracted, if I don't know how to breathe deeper, then full body bliss is going to be on the other side of just learning how to get in my body, right? This is what a lot of embodiment stuff is about in that white rose. And learning how to just get in my body, and learning how to calm my mind, and learning how to breathe a little deeper. And a lot of people, and I know there's people who maybe in here that have had these experiences, is even from the white rose, Ananda is bliss without conditions, right? Because Tantra is actually a limb of yoga, if we want to go into the more traditional pathways and understandings of Tantra, because there's many different types of Tantras. And also the temple rose goes a bit beyond Tantra, because there's lots of Taoism pathways and shamanic pathways that kind of all start to link together. The different language, but the practices are the same around, understanding our chi, understanding our life force, understanding our prana. These are all indicating to the same things. I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd, so I like Jedi. I use a lot of Jedi language, using the Force. I love that shit. So it's really less about getting stuck on the language and getting to the core of understanding what it's pointing to, this thing, right? So the white rose is really about exploring and purifying the emotional body, purifying the places. And like I said, lots of people can activate full body bliss, just bliss without conditions, right? It's a non-sexual, it's not a sexually stimulated bliss. It's a bliss that can naturally arise in every cell of your body, because that's actually the nature of your cells. Remember what I said about, I go a little bit sexy church with, it's the energy we all came from, but it's the core essence in the energy. It's the core frequency. So it literally exists within every cell of our body, because that is where our cellular development literally came from. So when we clear the sludge, clear the old vibrations, shall we say, there's a lot of Hermetic principle understanding and wisdom in this level of the rose, like the law of vibration and the law of understanding frequency and how it can get stuck in the physical body and the unconscious and the subconscious mind. When we go clearing that out, we are opening the channels for the energy to have somewhere to go. If my heart or my meridian channel in here is clogged up with old past emotions that my mind is attached to, so I'm not going to let go and let the energy move and actually break through, right? When I go to open to full body bliss, meaning move the energy into a more expanded experience, it's not going to have anywhere to go, right? Which is where damage and issues can occur. And this is also a path where we can talk about Kundalini energy and the more spiritual side of understanding these energies and the energy centers and activating our body. So the white rose, she is so beautiful and simple. I don't want to call her soft, because she's this beautiful energy that is here to set the foundations, that by the time we go into the more sexual practices or the erotic knowledge, we're on some really grounded, we're in a grounded nervous system. We can actually meet that energy and hold it without creating all these distortions or creating all these things that we haven't, these imprints that we haven't fully cleared out yet properly. There's less noise and more ability to surrender into the fullness and the potential as we go deeper into the temple. So as we move through the white rose, once I have the foundations in my nervous system, I can learn how to calm my mind. I can learn how to move energy in my nervous system in this way. It's preparing me for the pink rose, which is the next rose that we're going to move through. And the pink rose is sensual embodiment. So once I've learned the foundations and learned how to alchemize my energy in those ways, I can move into sensual embodiment, right? And sensual embodiment is really this beautiful pathway of, now I can start to connect more with my eros. Once I know how to just be in my body, once I learn embodiment stuff, I can start to dive into sensual embodiment. And sensual embodiment is where I can start to explore my eros more. But it's about sensuality, meaning we're not in full sexuality yet. We're learning how to redefine our relationship with this word. So this is based on a lot of pathways known as things like pink tantra, which is not quite red or white, because we're moving more into eros. Eros in its innocence and its purity. Eros in its self. So we're still focused on self. This isn't about playing with other people. This isn't even about deeper sexuality. This is about, how do I sit in my eros? This is going to make us look at, what is our relationship with pleasure? What are the things I was taught about pleasure? What does it mean to feel pleasure in my body? right? This is so powerful in a world that has a lot of programming around our sexuality that creates distortions and neural pathways that things like pornography have done, and a nervous system that is in a stress response, and understanding how we may be looping in pleasure that actually is covering up these things in our nervous system and isn't actually creating a healthy nervous system regulation, but also a healthy relationship with pleasure in ourselves. So this is returning to the pleasure of life. Pleasure as a state of being, not as a goal. And there's a lot of practices in this realm that are about finding the purity of pleasure again, right? It's a real reclamation of erotic innocence that happens in our being in this layer, and understanding what it means to feel pleasure. And sensuality. And sensuality isn't sexuality. Sensuality means my ability to feel, right? If I want to expand Hermetic principles, right? If I want to expand that way, a negative and positive ion down to atomic structure. If you expand the positive ion that way in a atom, inevitably it is going to expand the negative ion. We cannot expand one without the other, right? So if I want to expand my capacity for bliss, I want big old pleasure and joy and delicious, yummy, full body orgasms and tantric sex and all of the delicious things of joy in Eros. I have to be willing to expand my spectrum to feel, right? I have to be willing to find the bliss within it all, which is where we really come back to this purity in the energy and the essence that can completely rewire your nervous system and its relationship with pleasure. This is still about yourself, and is such an important step before we go playing with others to understand where we're sitting in our Eros. And this can heal so much sexual shame. This is about the innocence of pleasure through touch, through self-pleasure practices that are more about de-armoring and getting to know our body, and understanding how sexual education that maybe we never received, that allows us to understand how this things works, including in our Eros and how we move through the world in it. It's so powerful. And it's, once again, just because it's pink, it's not a gender thing. It's so beautiful to understand that we all have an innocence around this energy, and when we reclaim that in our body, pleasure becomes a state of being, not just a goal. And it's a whole different level of experience in life when we're moving from there, and how this energy can move through our body. Which then brings me to the red rose. Because the red rose is, once I'm grounded in my body, once I'm grounded in my sensual embodiment, I then can move into spaces where I can start to engage with others and understand deeper sacred sexuality. So the red rose is known as tantric bliss, and this is a lot of the framework of some of the sessions that go on at the Bliss Boudoir start to come into these realms, because this is about engaging with others. So tantric bliss is basically based a lot in tantric terms around red tantra. This is a big path of tantra that is most of Western culture understands as tantra. Most of Western culture either understands, if you're talking to, people who've explored Kundalini energy and the purer pathways, white tantra is kind of the purity pathway, and then you've got red tantra, which is more of the sacred sexuality pathway. So this is the stuff that we as Westerners from things like American Pie understand of, like, tantric sex and having orgasms for hours and all these kind of things. And that is involved in the red rose, but it's also about shamanic sexuality, how to create a space where you expand with another person that can really open both beings to full body bliss, but understanding how we're orbiting and sublimating that energy together to harness and amplify and empower both beings, right? Charging up both batteries in some really powerful ways. That is that really sacred union path, right? This is where a lot of the sacred union wisdom comes in, and also deeper de-armoring techniques that aren't just sensuality anymore. There's more lingam de-armoring, prostate de-armoring, yoni de-armoring, going into genital and sexual connection, and how sex can be a healing pathway, but also a pathway of transcendence and understanding these meditative states we can enter when we open up these kind of realms of understanding that go way beyond the conditioning of what we're told we're capable with this sexual energy, and what we seek in divine union as we step into those polarities of masculine and feminine that go way beyond just the gender, but these kind of energy polarities that we can co-create with others, right? So this is a really delicious, I love the red rose, because this is what most temple nights are based on, because we're connecting with other people, right? And we're connecting with this is where we start to learn trauma and sexuality, and how we can help each other move past these things in intimacy, and also start to learn these beautiful things like conscious communication of how to have those consent and boundaries conversations, and how to speak to desires and reclaim sexuality in a way that allows you to be radically empowered in yourself and in how you relate with others. It's a very beautiful rose. And like I said, take what you need and leave the rest with how we understand them and what ones resonate with you, right? We may feel them different in our body as well. And this leads to the next rose. And like I said, I'm only giving you a very short overview. I could talk an hour about each rose. I could spend a month. I have spent a month on each rose, and the power in those spaces. So this leads me to the next rose, and I know a lot of, and I know a few of them in here. This is a rose that this is one of my favorite roses, okay? Because once you reclaim all of this, and once you are willing to do your healing work and your shadow work and your meaning of sexuality and what you've been taught around pleasure, and that comes from our family, our friends, our experience, our religion, our societies, it can be very empowering to then start to integrate into the purple rose. And the purple rose is known as tantric kink. So this is not kink in the way that people see on porn. This is not kink in just hardcore pain and things that we see. This is kink as an alchemy process. It's one of my favorite, and to be quite honest, one of the most transformational roses once you're ready to understand how the body alchemizes things, because tantric kink is where we start to weave the nice with the spice. We are entering the realms of taking all of that beautiful wisdom from the roses before, and now we're going into some of the most transformational spaces we can create with understanding our own psyche, our own integration of shadow work that is in the realms. Even Carl Jung and so many of these like wisdom pathways talk about sexuality as one of the biggest gates of the unconscious, right? When we bring it to the light, we can radically reclaim our power. We can reclaim the parts that we're hiding from. This is things like stepping into sacred kink dynamics like submission and domination, right? Understanding how role play can be a devotional experience, understanding how you can spank someone into a full body orgasm that actually helps heal things in their cellular memory and release trauma. It is so powerful to understand how to weave the nice with the spice in really powerful ways that don't fear the fire, but actually use it as a tool to really harness your radical authority and reclaiming things in some way, really turned on ways. Right? This was one of the most powerful realms of wisdom for me. And so the Tantra that's usually connected to the Purple Rose is more along the lines of Neo-Tantra. And this is once again a more westernized version or concept of tantric wisdom that does include things like BDSM and pathways that aren't so traditional, right? Because we've weaved it in with some newer concepts or explorations that don't see these things as separate, but see these practices as potential for transformation. And that's essentially what alchemy is, right? This is an alchemical journey that uses eros. You know, some people find it in plant medicines and some people find it in eros. I am one of those who find it in the eros. So this is a really powerful place where we can go into the places we feel the fear around, but also feel the most turn on around. And you know, when we talk about the polarity of the red tantra, for instance, we talk about the red rose and divine masculine and feminine. There's nothing more extreme and creating this polarity charge than a sub and dom dynamic. We're just going into a more intense version of still these sacred polarities that we can explore, and sensation play, and a lot of kink that it goes way back to even medieval times. Was a lot of kinksters are exploring these things because they understand the releases it can have in the body, and also the altered states of consciousness that can be accessed, right? It's not just all shadows, it's meditative states you can reach. It's emptying into bliss that can be opened when we mix the nice with the spice. It's very powerful information, but you can start to see how the language of the other roses can prepare you for that type of wisdom. When you're ready for that, it makes sense, and you start to see how it links together, right? Because it's all here for that radical empowerment. So we're no longer wronging, but we're exploring, and we're getting curious with sensation and the body and how it all connects, and also those dynamics that we may be curious of integrating in our bedroom life and also outside the bedroom. Let me tell you, as a temple mistress, so temple mistress means that I'm not just a dominatrix, or I don't just do kink. I am more of a tantric mistress, and that means that I hold all of the temple arts, but my kink approach is in devotion. It's in the energy of devotion, and sub and dom dynamics can be experienced in a devotional way, and I love taking people into those spaces of understanding these places in their body and their being, and giving them the gift of a feeling heart-based domination when I do that, because I can access that energy in myself that can completely rewire the cells. It's very powerful, and as you can tell, one of my favorite roses. And this leads me to the last rose, that once we've explored and we understand these levels and layers, once we've understood their wisdom or their codes, once we've explored their practices and integrated them, we enter the realms of the gold rose. Now, the gold rose is the only rose that I don't offer as a one-on-one session. It's only accessible through my initiation package. And this is because we really need to honor the beauty of this rose, as this rose is known as sex magic. right? And that can bring up a lot of meaning for people, right? Like this, even that word alone can bring up intensities of what goes on in our unconscious around what that means about angels and demons and black magic and bad stuff and good stuff and all these things, rather than seeing another language for sex magic would be erotic alchemy, right? So once we've understood all these pathways, this is where we're stepping into our sensual soul. And our sensual soul understands the law of vibration. It understands the quantum energy field. You only have to look at all of the alchemy pathways of transformation. You can look at Joe Dispenza. You can look at all of these self-development things that talk about the quantum energy field. The science has caught up with the woo-woo of understanding how you can affect your electromagnetic field. And we talk about how we can do that with our mind and our heart energy. And we never talk, in Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural, he mentions sexual energy, I think, once. In Dr. David Hawkins, he mentions sexual energy as well once. It's a very conversation in very transformational work, but we don't talk about it, right? It's like left there, and we don't talk about how this energy can amplify these things. So the gold rose really starts to go into the mystery magic of wisdom that is based in the mystery school teachings and understanding this ancient knowing, this ancient approach to our erotic energy that is within every culture. Some of the earliest civilizations and temples were always revolved around celebration through erotic expression and the connection to understanding how that can affect an electromagnetic field, meaning how you can harness and amplify your life with your sexual energy, how you create your reality with your creator energy is very powerful wisdom to understand. And it requires a respect to purifying the pathways before we get to that wisdom so that we can truly understand the potency of what the gold rose gets to offer us in transforming our life through full body bliss, accessing your full fucking potential as a human, your highest timeline, which is going to feel turned on. It's like so many like I said, there's so much out there, especially in the coaching world and, stepping into other versions of yourself. And, the reality is those versions of yourself, if you were to truly tap into your potential, are going to be turned on and aroused. So this is about not now I've understood all this and I'm exploring these things for my psyche and my sexual experience and my healing in my body and my wellness of my intimacy and my conscious sexuality. But now this is, what else do I do with this energy? How else can the very energy that creates worlds, the very energy that creates humans, what else can I do with this? And I say this as someone who's sitting in mine. Very intentionally harnessing and understanding how to amplify my sexual energy with a connection to my heart and my mind and channeling it in ways that are going to serve me and other people because I understand the power of this energy. And this is really potent wisdom that, like I said, isn't just something that can be a one-off session when we haven't done the work around the other roses to truly understand it and respect it, as we do go into some ancient wisdom that require a deeper presence of understanding how to access that and how to walk that labyrinth once we start to explore in those ways, right? Pleasure as a pathway of creating our reality. Very powerful stuff. So, that was a lot. But as you can tell, I really love sharing this stuff with you guys. And you can tell that each rose has its own energy field. It has its own frequency and wisdom and magic that are also here to serve you, and they serve the next rose, right? It's a deepening, it's a layering, and the intention at the end of it is to unlock that beautiful place you sit within yourself and how you create life, remembering your sensual soul. It's like connected to your sense of the true you. And the true you is going to be turned on, alive, tapped in, connected. And the point of the tools is they can help us keep returning to bliss. Bliss in your cells. Bliss can, a full body orgasm, what are the benefits? Why would I want to do this? Well, what are the health benefits of being able to access and tap into and understand my energy in this way? Eros is the compass, it's the guide. It can guide us in life when it's closed and turned down and freeze, when it's open and saying, go that way, go do that thing, follow that thread. That isn't just about sex. It's a communication. Our base is got its own communication that when we reconnect can really empower our consent, our boundaries, the threads of relationships we have, how we manifest our reality. It's like there's so much to that consciousness, this primordial consciousness that is waiting for us to let it out the cage and bring it back home to our heart and really become present with it, so that we can, remember the truth of our sensual soul and start creating from there. Because we all have different gifts to bring. And some of the health benefits of doing this is, not only about expanding your paradigms and your concepts of pleasure that go way beyond even having to take your pants off, but replenishing the cells in your body. A lot of these pathways in Taoism and Tantra were big on the wellness, big on the fountain of youth, big on the feeding your brain with sexual energy that actually can switch on new neurons and pathways in the brain that get it talking in ways that completely shift how your brain functions, right? It can activate your the DMT in your I forgot the name right now. That's where my brain is. I haven't had an orgasm and I haven't had an orgasm today, so I can't remember that. But it can activate these energy centers. It can activate physical parts of your brain communicating with each other. Your pineal gland, that's the one I was going for. As you can tell, it also allows you to be authentic in yourself, right? If you know me and you hang around me long enough, you know that I say lots of inappropriate jokes and hilarious things. And I'm alive. I'm in my eros. I follow the thread, right? Because life is about integrating your light and your dark and reclaiming this part that is, I'm passionate for life. I feel it when I'm not passionate. I feel it when I am. I get kinky with the things that keep me from feeling this energy in my body. And that includes getting stuck in my brain or feeling shame around a thing I desire or what others will think if I'm a demon lady who, talking about these things or because I'm too pleasurable. It's like all of these things. This pathway allows me to radically transform, and that's what alchemy is about. Being the erotic alchemist is what I'm here for, and what I want everyone to be in, because this has also been a real big healing path around my own sexual trauma. Like I said, I was diagnosed with CPTSD from a young age. There was definitely some sexual experiences in there, and also some things that I had to heal and integrate around feeling safe as a sexual woman in the world. That went way into life, that is just, a part of this human experience that I got to reclaim and understand and create that safety in my pleasure and my nervous system that allows my quality of life to go way beyond just an orgasm or feeling my pleasure. If I don't allow the fullness of my bliss to guide me, I'm going to miss out on the communication of when it allows me to go in the direction of what I really desire in life. That goes way beyond just sex, right? This is what this path is about. So, I've said a lot of words. And I hope that some of these words have given you a curiosity, given you a deeper contemplation on what this path may be for you or feel for you, or even if it's something that you want to take an interest in. And what I want to do now is I just want to take a little moment as I want to integrate all of these words. And if you are sitting down somewhere, if you're walking around, the invitation, you can come back to this later if you want to, but this is only going to take about 5 minutes of your time. I want you to just take a moment to close your eyes, and I want you to just take some big deep breaths. So you're letting go of everything else at this point. You're not doing, pushing, forcing. I just want you to breathe. And we're just expanding that breath into our belly. I just want you to be with that. The inhale and the exhale. There's nothing else you have to do, but I just want you to feel what happens. Maybe a sigh wants to come out. Maybe your body wants to start relaxing. Maybe your body's like, oh, finally, you're taking a moment to be with me. As you breathe a little deeper and breathe all the way down into your base, all the way down into your belly, your hara, your lower dantian, just this sacral energy. And in your mind's eye, I just want you to see yourself as you're breathing deep. I want you to see yourself going down the stairs. Just looking down at your feet in your mind's eye as you're breathing, and I want you to see some stairs, and you're just going to start to go down the stairs. Just one foot in front of the other. No judgment on what those stairs look like. Just paying attention as you go down the stairs, staying with that slow breath, going down the stairs. And as you go down those stairs, you see these golden temple doors, and they're covered in roses. I just want you to feel your body as you stand at these temple doors in your mind's eye. Take some big deep breaths. Allow sound to come out if that feels right for your body. And when you're ready, you're going to open those doors. And you find yourself in the most beautiful golden temple. And I want you to notice in the corners of this temple, as you stay with your breath, there is a door in each corner and one at the back. And I want you to see, as you look around, taking those big, deep breaths, there is a door with a white rose. There is a door with a pink rose. There's a door with a red rose. And one with a purple rose. And the last door with a gold rose. Just observing them, staying with that deep, beautiful breath. And I want you, without thinking, to go to the door that is calling you. I'm not going to tell you what door that is, but just allow, and notice if you allow yourself or if you stop yourself. But there's a part of you that knows. Just go to the door. And you're not going to go in it yet. But I want you to see what door your subconscious mind is calling you to go to. What door is your sensual soul saying, go this way? And just observe. Observe what door you end up outside. Take a big, deep breath. And just take note, as this is just the beginning. This is just a little Curiosity. That's all we're doing today, is we're getting curious. You're going to thank this beautiful temple space. And you're going to make your way out of those golden doors, knowing that if you want to journey deeper into the temple rose, that these doors will be there. And even outside of the temple rose, this wisdom will find you if and when you're ready. Take another big deep breath for me. And you're just going to make your way out of those golden doors. And you're just going to go up the stairs again. Up the stairs. Just one foot in front of the other, making your way up the stairs. And wherever you are, you're just going to wiggle your toes. You're just going to wiggle your fingers. You're just going to stretch your body in any way that feels good. And you're just going to take a moment to be with whatever rose, or more than one rose maybe, revealed itself to you. And there's no right or wrong in this. There's just a curiosity, an invitation, an activation. And also, if you didn't end up at any doors, just feel that too. Feel that part of you that may have held you back from allowing your sensual soul from guiding you, because that's just as valuable. It's just as valuable to start to get curious with these parts, because these are the things that are guiding you to getting to know yourself in a deeper way. Because the premise, the pure essence of this journey is with yourself before it's with anyone else. And that's what leads us back to the truth of who we are. And bliss is just a natural side effect. So I'm going to wrap this up, as I could literally just sit here and talk about it all night. But I am going to be starting the members portal online. We did this last year. We began something before the internet took us down. And we are back, because I am so passionate about bringing you guys regular tools, practices, and techniques wherever you are, even if you can't make it in person. I know that this isn't just a one workshop thing. This is a way of being, baby. This is a lifestyle. This is giving you a place where you can keep coming and chop wood, carry water, keep coming to learn and continue to dive deeper into layers of these petals within yourself and within the temple rose. And there is a online place. I'm going to send an email out to you guys where you will get a week for free. And in that week, I'm going to be spending a day. Each day, we will be going into a rose and having a little mini journey where you can explore these roses and some of their practices. Not just by me talking, but I actually want to take you into some of these practices, because let me tell you, that is where the magic is. The wisdom is in there. So we want to explore that, and we want to give you the gift of that as well. So thank you all so much for joining me and being curious. And like I said, this is a take what you need and leave the rest. You may walk away, or you may have listened to this and gone, nah, this is all a little bit hoo-hoo for me, or I'm not vibing it. At least you gave yourself the opportunity to look outside of maybe your normal daily life, or look at it from the lens of a MoonRose, of how I understand the world, or what this path could offer you if you decided to get curious with it. And I hope that even this masterclass serves you, that even outside of the temple rose, even outside of this framework, it's given you a little roadmap of, like I said, wherever you are, if you end up going to a breath work, or you end up going to a women's circle or you know, like a temple night, you have a framework and a language within yourself of like, oh, this is more of a white rose. Okay, I can get with this practice. Or, oh, wow, that's a bit of a red and a purple rose experience. Am I ready for that? And it's just giving you that ability to explore in healthy ways. That yeah, I certainly wish someone had given me when I first started all of this. That's all I'll say. I'm taking the alchemy of all the things that I had to learn in very interesting ways to give you the guidance in a far more clear way and grounded into this reality. So like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'm going to send out some emails. Yes, and 7 days. 7 days. No, not in a creepy way, but in a fun way. I'll send out the emails and I'll send out the dates that we are going to be going through these roses so you can get a feel of them, because sometimes, you know, we're just talking. I know, like I said, I sometimes say some weird things, but that's just me. And allowing yourself to feel these roses, and there will be semesters in this members portal where it can start to become a more weekly practice for you, so you can really get the benefits of seeing how this unravels, and the real intention is to be of service to your sensual soul. All right, my dears, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you journeying with me. And like I said, any questions, any curiosities, I hope the way I've explained it has been helpful, and I hope you enjoy. Feel free to message me and let me know what rose called to you. That's always exciting and curious for me. I want to know your roses. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you guys so much. Oh, I see a pink rose. See you guys later. Thank you.